Hello world, welcome to Real Talk with Professor Swag, and we're going to talk about a couple of reasons as to why the New Orleans Saints lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, first thing first, if you look at the stats, New Orleans was the better team with the exception of a few stats, like the defense on Tampa Bay was about right there, and the offensive line on Tampa Bay was extremely great. But I'm going to explain to you why New Orleans lost that game. Now, you can say the turnovers. We know, obviously, if Drew Brees throws like 3 interceptions and the team has a total of 4 turnovers, that contributes to losing the game. But it's 2 people, to me, that make the difference of that game. And I'm going to tell you who those 2 people are. Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. Now, the difference was Taysom Hill didn't play the game, and I believe that's the reason why they honestly lost. That is single-handedly the reason to me why New Orleans lost that game. If you noticed on the first play, the first touchdown that New Orleans scored on, it was a special trick play with an end around where the second string QB, Jameis Winston, threw a touchdown pass to one of the receivers. If you keep up with the New Orleans Saints and how they play, you know that was a play that normally would have been for Taysom Hill. That would normally been a Taysom Hill score. But the reason I say that Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, more so Taysom Hill, is the reason why they lost that game, because Drew Brees is not like your typical running QB. So there were plays that he could have probably ran the ball, but he's not a scrambler. But had Taysom Hill been in the backfield under center, he would have ran the ball and he could have easily picked up first downs on, 3rd and short, 4th and short. He could have shortened the deficit on 3rd and long to help get the next drive going. Drew Brees is not that type of guy. Drew Brees is a pocket QB. He stays in the pocket. He'll scramble outside the pocket to look for an open receiver, but he's most cases not looking to run the ball. So I believe that the main reason why the Saints lost that game more than anything besides the turnovers is simply because Taysom Hill wasn't in the game. Taysom Hill plays at tight end. Taysom Hill plays at running back. Taysom Hill is a true X factor to that team, and it showed because he didn't play because of his knee injury, and they definitely could have used him. They definitely could have used Taysom Hill in their offensive scheme this past Sunday. Had he been there, they more than likely would have won the game. Because you also got to think he plays special teams. He's on kick return, punt return, and so forth. Like I say, he plays tight end. Sometimes he lines up in the slot. Sometimes he lines up as an H-back. Sometimes he's a running back in the backfield, and so forth. Whatever the case may be, Taysom Hill is the X-factor guy that when he's on the field, you have to account for him. You have to account for Taysom Hill when he's on the field, especially when they use like 2 quarterbacks inside the offense. You definitely need someone covering Taysom Hill, whether it's running back, against the linebacker, or one of the DBs on him while he's in the slot, or on the end as a flanker, and so forth. Someone needs to account for. No one had to worry about Taysom Hill. They didn't have to worry about his threat, and I believe that is key to the reason why they lost, besides the turnovers. Now, like I said, Drew Brees threw like 3 interceptions, and we know one of those interceptions was not Drew Brees' fault. It hit the receiver's elbow. It was his fault that it was in that missed time, but it wasn't his fault that it was intercepted. It hit the receiver's elbow while he was attempting to catch the ball, and it bounced into the defender's hand. Now, that receiver is also part of the reason why they lost, because 2 of the turnovers were because of him. He fumbled, the ball, which definitely led to a score, and the interception, which also, sealed the win. So that is my reason as to why Tampa Bay won that game. They didn't win that game because they were the better team and because Brady was gelling and all that. To me, they won the game simply because they didn't have to look out for Taysom Hill on those trick plays, and they didn't have to account for him on the field due to his knee injury. They're lucky that he didn't play the game. They're lucky for that. They're extremely lucky. Because if you would have looked at the game the previous week when Tampa Bay played against the Washington football team, you would have also noticed that that quarterback that only had 120-something reps going into the game had almost beat Brady. And honestly, if you watch the game, there was a play around the 4-minute mark or close to the 2-minute mark in the fourth quarter that should have been ruled like a penalty against Tampa Bay, but the referees didn't get it, and Washington didn't have any more timeouts to challenge the play, which could have led to Washington possibly winning the game. So, I'm going to say it now. I'm picking Buffalo for the upset. I'm picking Buffalo. And I'm picking Green Bay. Hands down. I'm picking Buffalo, and I'm picking Green Bay. Because if you look at Brady's history, the only 2 QBs ever gave him any real trouble in the AFC. That was Peyton Manning, and that was Phillip Rivers. Those are the only 2 QBs that really gave him any trouble. Patrick Mahomes gave it to him towards the end of his career. But for the most part, Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers always gave Tom Brady a run for his money. And one of those, Phillip Rivers never got to go to the dance. Unfortunately, he just retired this week. And he was an outstanding QB. It sucks that he couldn't get the ring because he is one of the QBs that deserve it. He is well deserving of that ring. He just couldn't get it. But when you take that into account as to what I said, the reason New Orleans lost that game to me is because the Saints couldn't really get it moving with Alvin Kamara the way they wanted to, and they didn't have Taysom Hill out there as the X factor all over the field. That's why they lost the game. You may, like I said, for those of you who argue about the defense, what's better than a good defense is a great offense. And when you put Taysom Hill in the game and he can run on those 4th and short plays, and the defense got to be accountable for that on 4th and short, on 3rd and short, it makes a big difference when you got a QB that can run the ball. Big difference. And that's my take. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, though. Don't forget about it. Thank you.